So, in my previous devlog, don't start with me, Pablo. We were in a very good space where we had a very good looking courtyard at the very end. And I decided, okay, I think I'm happy with this. And then I came back to it this morning and I realized that it's not as realistic as I was hoping it could be. And I had absolutely no idea why. I don't really have friends in the Unreal Engine space.
Oh, friend!
So I've decided to do the very, very scary thing, and that is to post the render of my scene on Reddit and see what happens. Also, I forgot to mention in the previous devlog, I really wanted to add a little bit of more lighting. You'd probably see in the render that there's some fairy lights at the top. It was very simple and straightforward to just model it in Blender. I just used a... Yo, what's going on, you guys? What are you doing? What are you doing? Look at the camera. Say you're sorry. Salvador, I'm speaking to you too. Go. Get out. Anyway, by using a curve within Blender, it was very easy for me to get this realistic kind of cable thing going. There was a plugin that I used that comes out of the box with Blender. I also just downloaded a couple of free lantern assets that I used. And now it's in the scene and I have a light source that I can start working with. So this is the final render that I'm going to be posting on the Unreal Engine subreddit. So let's do it. Someone's drilling. Someone's drilling right next to me. So I live in an apartment in Cape Town, so it's actually very difficult to shoot these videos because between dogs barking, wind blowing, and people just generally drilling all the time, I have to find slots to do so. So it's quiet now. Okay, let's use this time to shoot some content. So I've posted it on Reddit. And I'm very pleased to see that it is on the front page. And I didn't refresh this every minute to see what is going to pull through. So I haven't read through the comments yet. I'm too scared. So I think it's time that I just start reading through it.
You dirt-eating piece of slime! You scum-sucking pig!
You are physically repulsive, intellectually retarded, vulgar, insensitive, selfish, stupid.
I don't like
is
to
one of
jerk
the
off
most
face.
insanely
I don't like to
idiotic
jerk off
things I have
behavior,
ever
and I
heard.
don't like you.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Why are you gay?
So the comments are actually really positive. I mean, there's a couple of ones that point out very obvious glaring things that I should have noticed. You know, some a little bit critical, but I mean, that's exactly what I wanted, right? You don't go post something on Reddit and expect everyone to just say this is fantastic. That's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is to get this thing looking as good as possible. So thank you so much, guys, for all the comments. So let's start reading through. I've got my laptop here in front of me. Okay, so the first comment is, lighting is not that good. Materials are not that good, especially the fountain and the vegetation in the foreground. Now, this is a very good comment, just because I think everything he says here is true. I haven't spent a lot of time on the lighting. I know I can improve it there. And also the materials are just stock standard Quixel materials. For my wall material, I painted it with Substance Painter. It's not as detailed as I want it to be. So I think this is definitely a point that I'm going to be working on. Thank you so much, Weedrunner. Also, like the username #420. Scarlax said, nice scene and great quiz. I'd say the biggest impact is the lighting. So I'm starting to see a common thread coming through here, and it is definitely something to do with the lighting. So that's going to be one of the big points for me to work on. Then we've got the Marcus Totti. Marcus Totti said, subsurface on the plants. Now, if you don't know what subsurface is, it's essentially a way of scattering lighting beneath the surface of a mesh. And what that does is it kind of creates different colors within the material when lighting hits it. So definitely to get a more accurate leaf material, I'm going to go and look at what the material setup looks like, and I'm going to try and improve on that as well. Nice first pass. So this by Jack French 9 is by far the most impressive comment, right? So he says you just need to focus a little bit more on the textures and materials. And he posted references. It's a massive write-up. So Jack French 9, thank you so much. I'm definitely going to have a look at that. Also mentions about the window pane. So the window pane, I just put a wood texture on there. A lot of the comments mention that that's not how wood works. When you look at, for instance, a window pane, you have to think about how this window was built. For a piece of wood that runs like this, having a wood material with the grains running down just breaks the realism. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to hand paint that in Substance Painter, because Substance Painter is amazing. The picture is oversaturated, the lighting is poorly adjusted, as well as the absence of moss and thickets on the fountain. Very good point. Fountain is too clean, and like I said already, lighting absolutely there with you. Kira Lehman, thank you so much. Also saw some of your work on this Unreal Engine subreddit. Great stuff, looking really, really cool. This is Unreal Engine, not a real engine, from Death Clonic. Why is this so funny? And then we've got something is killing your shadows. It looks like the plants and the fountains aren't catching any shadows. I think that's got to do with my lumen setup. I'll just have to have a look there. And honestly, I have no idea. It looks super realistic. Now, Potatium, you're clearly blind. No, I'm joking. Thank you for the compliment. It really does mean a lot. But I think there is stuff to improve. Thank you for taking the time. And then another lighting comment, walls too clean, agree with that. Lighting, so I think we're getting a common theme of what the issue is with the scene, and I think it is mostly to do with the lighting, materials, and shadows. What I'm really glad about is no one said anything negative about the composition of the scene, which was the thing that I was the most worried about, because that means I have to remake the entire scene. Also, I think that is the one thing that I'm truly happy with. It really reflects what I had in my mind, and it's accurately representing the references that I used. Before we start, I just want to say a massive thank you to this Reddit community. You guys are absolutely fantastic. It's overwhelming just seeing how many strangers are just willing to give time to Pablo. To give up their time to help a complete stranger like myself. From the bottom of my heart, it really makes a massive difference. So without further ado, let's get to it and start making the recommended fix. Okay. Okay, so I'd just like to pause here because what I've done is I've subtly tweaked the lighting. So I've made the fairy lights look a little bit more realistic just by adding an emissive material to the inside of the light bulb. And then I also went and added more lights. I also tweaked ultra dynamic sky a little bit. I reduced the moon color intensity because it was very blue. Then I just overall just boosted the exposure a little bit to give it a little bit more brightness. So it is the next day. I think I've put in quite a bit of work and I'm really happy with how the scene is looking currently. I think the next thing that I'm just going to do is texture the window and also just pay a little bit of attention to the statue, because there was a lot of people saying that the statue wasn't up to scratch. And then I'm very excited to get back into Substance Painter to fix all these issues. And then at the end, let's see if we can produce something really, really outstanding. So far, so good. I'm very happy. So let's just continue. So all in all, I'm very happy with how this is looking. So I've adjusted the lights, I've increased the rays on the top lights, I've also created some backlights going down the walls, and then just really accentuating that subsurface scattering on the leaves, which really gives it an amazing feeling. I added the fog. I didn't scale the fountain, I actually scaled the window at the back down just because the perspective was feeling a little bit too strange. I added a little bit of foliage in the front just to give me that depth of field, and then just little bits and pieces that I've improved. I've added vines to the statues, I've added more grass materials to the bottom, and then I ended up with what we see now, and I'm really happy with it. I did go and post it on Reddit again. I didn't get any feedback this time, which I'm gonna take as a big win, just because I think that means that people are happy with it, or people just don't care. Anyway, as always, it's been lovely making this devlog. Happy game development, and until next time.